Right, I bet I'm missing a load of things to try and crank this, but let's just give it a go, see what happens. So guys, we are back on the Octavia VRS3, and this video, I really want to try and get it at least turning over. Ideally, I want it to start. But I am completely in the realms of the unknown because I've never done an engine swap, and we've got a load of rewiring to do of the ECU to be able to get the car to communicate with the Rs3's ECU and basically change the pin out so they correlate. Because obviously the Skoda thinks it's got a Skoda ECU, which has got different pin outs. So therefore sensors will be in the wrong position. So we are going to be concentrating a bit more on the wiring side of things today, just to try and get things started. Now, if you haven't seen the last video, go click in the top rank on it and go and watch that. But basically, we got the RS3 engine into the car, but I found so much damage to the front of the engine because this engine came out of a crash damaged car. Now, you would have seen in the last video as well that I got a quote for £6,000 to replace everything that was broken along the front. Even the sump alone was 500 quid. Mad. But obviously I'm not going to spend £6,000 on all new genuine parts. I mean, the compressor, the AC compressor was £1,000 alone. I found one secondhand for 100 quid. So I will be obviously buying secondhand parts where possible. There's a few things that I can't do secondhand, like a few connectors that are broken, but they are not too expensive. And also, I realized the other day that I've got literally a whole wiring loom here, so I should be able to take a load of pin outs, wiring, and maybe even some connectors from that wiring loom. I've also got an S3 wiring loom as well, so I should actually be okay on that front. Now, I've ordered some bits just to get the engine started, so anything oil related. So and a starter motor. So I've ordered a new starter motor, a new oil cooler bracket, a new oil cooler. The bracket has the oil filter and housing in it as well. What else have I ordered? I've ordered a Mechatronics sump because basically anything that I need to get for the engine start. Obviously, cooling system, I don't need to get it to start and run for a few seconds. So I haven't bothered with any of that. Alternator compressor, leave that off. I just want to get it started running. I want to know the engine works before I start throwing more money at it. And I've just plugged the diagnostic machine in quickly, and the good news is obviously ECM hasn't come up because it's not plugged in, but the good news is my RS3 ECU, although it's got loads of faults, it does recognize it, which means on the CAN bus side of things it should be okay to use to try and start the car. So that is a positive. And also yesterday I spent a lot of time looking at wiring diagrams for the RS3 ECU and the Skoda ECU because it's not the engine side. So this loom here, which is from the engine, but which will plug into the RS3 ECU, we don't actually have to change anything on that because it's going into the RS3 ECU, so that can remain the same. So what we do actually need to change is the loom going from the car to the ECU. That is what we need to change, and there's a few things on there we need to get it to start. So the starter relay 2, they are different pin outs, so we've got to obviously make sure when you go to crank it inside the car that the RS3 ECU recognises that and then turns the engine over, and they are out on different pin outs. So to give it a quick example, I'm not going to go too much into it because it's probably quite boring and confusing at the same time. But T91 is what this connector block is called. So this is a T91 connector block, and this one over here was a T105 connector block. Basically just means it's got they just call it a T block, and it's got 105 pins, whereas this one has 91 pins in it. And then when you've got the /70, it means that it's pin out number 70 on this connector block. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but very small writing at the bottom here. Can you see where it says 91? So that means 91, that's the last pin. Pin 1 is going to be one of these blocks here. And I think it starts at pins, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it starts at 7 and goes up to 91. So we need to change the pin from pin 70, sorry, on the Skoda ECU, it's pin 87 for the starter relay, but on the RS3, it thinks it's pin 70. So it won't start until it sees a starter positive going into pin 70. So we need to change pin 87 to pin 70 for the RS3 ECU to recognise a start. Now, I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I'm very good at explaining things, but that is how essentially it's got to work. There's a few we've got to do, not too many actually. So there's a starter relay 1 and 2. We've also got to do the fuel pump as well, because obviously it needs to draw the fuel up from the tank. We've got a main relay as well. We've got an ECU supply relay we've got to change to power up the ECU. And I think that's pretty much it, just to be able to start it and run it. There'll be other sensors we've got to change to make sure everything is running properly, but just for starting it and having it run for a couple of seconds, they should be the only ones we need to do. There's loads of other pinouts that I've had a look at, and they seem to be like pins 3, 5 and 6, 1, 2 and 4, for example. They are the same on both ECUs. They're both main power from the car and also main earth. So they are the same, so we shouldn't have to change those. And as it stands, I don't actually have any of my parts for the front yet, so I'm hoping they're going to turn up throughout this video, and by the end of it, we can stick it all together and go for a crank. So I might as well start with the wiring. And I'll try and get it focus, probably not going to. Right, see that purple wire and the black and grey wire, they are pins 7 and 8. And if we go over to my little diagram here, let's see, pin 7, grey and black, and pin 8, purple. So I can confirm they are the correct wires, and what we need to do is swap them over so it's actually on pin 87 and pin 35. So we need to take the black wire out of pin 7 on here and put it into pin 87, which is, I think, up in the top left hand corner somewhere, up here somewhere. So we need to take it out of there and put it in there, and that is how we're going to do it. Right, now after I've done the pinouts on the sheet, I'm just going to plug it in, I think. I've just also fitted the new starter motor as well, because the connections were just all broken off the top of it. So that's all sorted and plumbed into the Skoda's wiring loom, so that's all good. So now we just need the ECU. There we go. There's the original. Go on this one, and then we'll plug in the Skoda one, which should hopefully go in like that. There we go. Bosh. Ha! Bosh. Funny guy. Right, we are in there. So I'm going to turn the ignition on and see what happens. Plug the code reader in, and I'll try and read the ECU and see what happens. I have no clue what to expect. So I've just plugged the battery on and connected to the diagnostic machine, and it's automatically detected the VIN this time, which it didn't do last time, but it's come back and thinks it's an Audi with that chassis number. That is obviously the crashed RS3 chassis. Right, so the next piece of the puzzle is the Mechatronics, because the car still will not start if the Mechatronics are not connected to it, because I believe there's an immobilizer in the Mechatronics as well. So I need to get that plugged back in. I do have it here, so we can put it back in. But obviously we've got our damaged sump pan, which is, leaking fluid. So I've just gone down to Audi, spent 400 quid on loads of parts, and one of those parts is a new, nice DSG sump pan. Managed to steal a can of Coke as well, and got like an earth for gearbox, sensors, crank sensor, which is another reason why it won't start. I've got fuel pressure switch, and loads of different connectors like these, which probably didn't need to actually order, considering I realised I have 2 wiring looms, but it's done now. I've got them. Can't be asked to take them back. So, yeah. So we're going to fit the DSG sump pan, get the Mechatronics in, and try and get that talking to the car. Right, so it turns out the old gearbox from the Skoda was a DQ381, which actually has the same wiring as the DQ500 wiring loom, which we have here. And I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but there's a slight issue because the DQ381 gearbox wiring actually wasn't connected to the ECU. It went into a different wiring loom and back to the car, whereas the DQ500 connector went into the actual ECU wiring loom, which went into the ECU. Now, I don't know, if I'm honest, how to proceed, because I've tried to connect the Skoda plug in, but it recognises it. The car plays a little tune, but it then doesn't recognise the engine ECU when I do that. So as soon as I plug it in, it like blanks off the engine control unit and won't talk to it after that, just goes grey. So we obviously can't use that, and there's a problem there. So there was a bit of a wiring fault with this one off the RS3. One of the cables were broken, so I've just temporarily repaired it now. All the others are damaged but not broken, so they should still work. So if I just click this back in as far as I can, like that, so all those should now be working. If I now plug the RS3 loom in, I don't know if it's going to recognise anything at all. I'm not sure. Right, let's start the old computer up and see if it does anything. Right, so finally some good news. I've managed to get the ECU and the TCU to both talk to each other without anything cancelling out, and I've done it off the original Skoda's loom. So basically I was just playing around with it for ages. I went and stared at a load of wiring diagrams. I'll put it up on the screen now. And I could only find one pin that was actually different in both of these. So all the wires are the same, and they actually go to the same pinouts in the ECU as well, all bar one. Now, I was getting confused because obviously the Skoda one, it goes straight into the loom here, but the RS3 one didn't. It went straight into the engine harness. But it turns out that it went to an 8-pin connector as well, which is what this is. So this is actually connected to the RS3 and then went back into the car. Whereas the Skoda one, it just went straight into the loom, so there was no connector. So basically, we need to use the Skoda's loom, but have the pinouts matching the RS3 one. And there's only one I needed to change, and that was, I've just done it. It was this one here, actually. It was this purple and white one. I had to change it from pin whatever to whatever. But it's done now. Plugged it in, and now the car is recognising both the ECU and the TCU. So that is good. And to be fair, electrical errors. There you go. Starter enable from selector lever sensor. Now also in the car, it's coming, instead of flashing up P, it's now got a solid light on P. So it means the gearbox is now recognised. So to be fair, they should all clear. There you go. Missing message, don't know what it's for, don't care, but we have communication. Right, so now I've got the TCU and the ECU communicating with each other, kind of. My oil cooler housing still hasn't turned up yet, so what I'm going to do for the moment is just concentrate on a little bit more wiring. Now, I've tried to remove the gearbox plug from the RS3 loom as we no longer need it, but there is a few other wires that go into that loom as well, these two here, and I think they go down to this plug down here, or one of them does anyway. Need to work out what that is, so I'm going to leave that again for now. So I am actually just going to concentrate on this plug here because this is completely smashed. I've managed to actually plug this one in, and it's actually okay to just test for the moment. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. This one I'm going to concentrate on because it's got quite a lot of wires in and will be important. I've just fitted my new fuel rail sensor up there. And I've also found, this is the fuel inlet. So this would have been plugged into the fuel tank essentially. But we've also got our wire from the Skoda here. So what I'm actually going to do is remove this hose here and directly connect the Skoda fuel supply line into that point here. They're the same size hoses, so we'll cut that down and feed it straight into there and bypass this connection, which we don't need. But I'll do that obviously at a later date. So for now, wiring. Now, I started to take the pin outs from the damaged connector, but I just found that more and more of the pins were slightly damaged. There was copper wire showing, and it just weren't great conditions. So I ended up cutting it out the loom completely, taking the same connector block out of the Skoda Octavia VRS engine loom, and then just wiring that loom in, and it was just a lot easier and clearer and cleaner to do. Right, so that's more wiring now complete down there. loosely complete that is. Just put the diagnostic machine on again, and we are getting there. We are getting better. There's only 4 stored faults in the ECM. Don't get me wrong, that'll probably double when we actually ran the car, but for now there's only 4 static ignition off faults. And now when we turn the ignition on, we get the obligatory intake flat motor cycle. Yeah. So that's what normally happens when you turn the ignition on. It just resets this, sets it every time, and it's now doing that, so that's a good sign. Now, I've just had a look at all the pinouts on this connector here, which comes from the loom, and they look to be from the spark plugs, live and earth, and also coolant pumps as well. But the good news is they are 85% the same as the pinouts on this grey connector here, so they should be able to just connect straight together. I will have to change a few pins though. But for now, I think, I don't have my oil cooler, it hasn't turned up. And it's been 2 days since I started filming this video, still hasn't turned up yet. So I might just try and engage the starter, I don't know it's going to happen yet. I really hope it does, but that is obviously the primary objective. Now, I'm really not expecting it to crank over now. It feels like it's far too messy and far too many ducts have to be in line for this to actually crank. So I feel like it's not going to do it, but I'm still going to give it a go, see what happens. Obviously, we've got no fuel connected, the spark plugs aren't connected, so we're never going to get any type of fire. It's literally just to make sure it does try and start when I do it, because that is a massive hurdle. And then we can start obviously going into obviously fuel, injectors, spark plug wiring and all that. No, scrap that. I've just realised it's not going to start, and straight away I've realised I'm going to have a problem, because to start the car you have to put your foot on the brake, and if I put my foot on the brake with the ignition on, if you look behind me at the wall, look, you should see brake lights light up, and they don't. And I know there is a switch in the ECU for a brake light switch, and I know I haven't changed it. So back to the drawing board, I'm going to have to find the pinouts for the brake switch and change them over first, at the very least. After studying the wiring diagram a little bit more, I found there were 2 pinouts for the brake light switch. So once I changed those 2 over, it basically just lets the car recognise that you've got your foot on the brake, so it allows you to crank the engine over. Right, that's those 2 pinouts changed to the correct pinouts on the RS3 ECU. So let's just double check, ignition on, and we should see some brake lights and the wall at the back. Yeah, brake lights, we're good. Right, let's just jump in, and I reckon we'll just see if it cranks over. I just really don't think it will, but we'll find out. Right, I bet I'm missing a load of things to try and crank this, but let's just give it a go, see what happens. Foot on the brake. It cranked! It cranked. It actually cranked. I cannot believe that just cranked. Oh. Sorry, I'm just in a bit of shock. Sweet. Sorry, I was just in complete shock there, because I just didn't expect it to actually crank over at all. I thought I was going to be missing way more things off than that to actually get it to crank over. I'm still in a bit of shock, if I'm honest. That's epic. I think I'm going to have to leave it there in today's video, guys, because the next stage is obviously you're going to get it running, and I'm nowhere near ready for that stage yet, with all the parts missing, etc. and things like that. But let me know. I don't know if this is going to be a long video or not. It's just so hard to gauge how much to leave in, because I've been working on this video for 3 to 4 days, but yeah, I can't just have most of the footage in, because it'd just be me sitting there thinking. You'd be watching 5 hours of me just going, But let me know, guys, what you thought of the technical side of things. Like, how much do you want me to include in the video? Because as I just said, it is a lot of time, and I appreciate you don't want to sit there watching me do nothing for ages. So it's really hard to get the technical and the time it takes to do these little bits across on video. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you want me to do going forward for the next few videos. But yeah, really happy, obviously got it cranking, and next start we'll be getting the VRS3 running. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video and other videos like this as well. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.